Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is on my palette collection. I did do one of these videos the end of last year, I believe. But I just wanted to go ahead and do an updated one because I have gotten rid of some and have gotten some new palettes. And just a disclaimer, I'm not bragging in any way. I am a makeup collector and eyeshadow palettes, well, palettes in general, are one of my favorite makeup items to collect. So I do have more than the average person, not as much as these other YouTubers, but I do have quite a few. But yeah, so if you would like to see what kind of palettes I have in my collection, then go ahead and keep watching. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with this I guess like letter holder. I got it from Marshall's and it's only 2 slots, but it holds some of my palettes that I try to use or like rotate. So we're gonna start with this. Let me scoot it back a little bit. So the first palette I have is the Tarte's Pro Glow palette. So I'm trying not to blind you. So you open it and it has 2 mirrors on the side, and it comes with 4 highlighters, a cream contour, and a powder contour. And I haven't used it very much, but that's why it's on my vanity, so I can remember to use it. The next one is the Anastasia Glow Kit in Sun Dip. And that's what this looks like. Again, I haven't really used it much, but that's why it's on my vanity, so I know to use my palettes instead of individual highlights. The next is the Tarte's Pro palette, and that's what this looks like. Try not to blind you. It comes with 16 mattes and 4 shimmers, and I do really like this palette. Next palette we have is the Juvia's Place Masquerade Mini palette, and I love this palette. I use it more for the color shades in here. I don't really use like the warmer tones, but yeah, this is a really good palette. The next 3 palettes I have in this holder are from Anastasia, and of course everyone knows the Modern Renaissance palette. That's what this looks like. I got this one and the Tarte's Pro at the same time, and this one was my favorite for the longest, and then the Tarte's Pro too. So there's that one. The next one I have is the Anastasia Self-Made palette, and that's what this looks like. I use this more during like prom season. It's a really pretty palette. I just feel like I can't get a really complete look with it, but yeah. The next one is probably my second favorite Anastasia palette, and this is the Prism palette, and this was their holiday palette, and as you can tell, it's been really loved. My son actually dug his finger in that one, and that's my favorite shade. But yeah, I really love this palette. The next 2 I have in here are my Naked palettes. So I have 1 and 2, and I'm sure you know what these look like. I'm not gonna really go into depth because I showed these in my first palette collection. So that's the first one, and that's the second one, and I did drop it. The next one is my Lorac Pro, and this is the first one. And as you can see, this one's really loved. This was my favorite for a very long time. I don't use it much now, but yeah. And the last palette I have in this holder is by Bad Habit, and it's the Retro Love palette, and I got this off of Shop Hush. And this is just supposed to be the Subculture dupe. It's a really good palette for the price, and I do have a first impressions video on this on my channel if you just scroll down. But yeah, this is a really good palette. Okay, now we're gonna go into the palette drawer that I have in my vanity. And we'll take this palette. I just got this palette about 2 days ago. I have not used it. I have swatched it, but it's the Morphe Jaclyn Hill, the Bling Boss from the Bulk collection. and that's what this looks like. I seriously want all of them, but I settled for just the purple one because it's probably the most different. So there's that one. The next one I just got a few days ago too, and this one came in my YesOhYas box, and it's from Beauty Creations. It's the Cali Set palette. I did do a look with this palette in the YesOhYas unboxing video. The next one is the one we got in our June Boxycharm, and it's the Alamad Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette. Oh, I almost dropped it. And that's what this looks like. It's so pretty. Like, this is probably my favorite shade, and I still plan on using this blue. But yeah, that's what that looks like. So pretty. The next palette is the Too Faced Stardust palette by Vegas Nay. And this came out a few years back. I haven't really used it much. I actually think I might sell it. It's a really good palette. I don't know why I don't gravitate towards it. But yeah. The next one is a face palette, and this is my BH Cosmetics Spotlight Highlight palette. And it comes with a nice size mirror and 6 big highlighters. This is a really good highlight palette. It's really inexpensive. I would definitely recommend it. The next one I have is my very beat up Anastasia contour kit, and this is the shade medium. Yeah, that's what this looks like. It's kind of dry, so I don't ever really use it. If I do, I have to mix it with like an oil. But yeah, so there's that. The next palette is from my July YesOhYas box, and it's the IBY Beauty Desert Vibes palette, and that's what it looks like. It's so pretty. I have yet to use it. I have swatched it though. The last palette in this pile is the Profusion Studio Contour palette, and this is a really good palette. It's really pigmented. They're very, very soft, so I dropped it like once and it cracked, but I mean, it's a really good palette. I got it, I think, from Five Below. Okay, the next little pile I have this Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette, and this is amazing. It's like $13 from Walmart. Unfortunately, one broke, and it was so pretty, but I mainly use this gold shade, and let me just show you. It's like extremely pigmented. Do you see that? It's crazy. Definitely recommend that one. The next one we got in our August Boxycharm, and it is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Party Animal palette. And that's what this one looks like. It is so pretty, and I did do a look in my unboxing video with this. But yeah, it's a really nice palette, and it comes with a mirror, and it actually really is good quality. The next palette I have, I think this is my last Anastasia palette, but this is the Shadow Couture World Traveler palette, and that's what this looks like. This was my first Anastasia palette, and it was my favorite. The next palette is my Carity 21 matte palette, and I have a few videos using this. It's pretty much probably my only like really colorful palette, but yeah, they're all matte and they are extremely pigmented. I definitely recommend this palette. The next one is my Pure Sculptor palette, and I think we got this probably in May Boxycharm. I really don't remember, but it smells like chocolate. You get 2 contour shades, 2 highlight shades, and they're actually really nice. I use it almost every day. The next one is my Co-Cosmetics palette, and I got this in beauty school. I only really kept it for like my single shadows, you know. Never use this. The next one is also like a for my single shadows, and it's the Ulta Beauty one, and This one has Makeup Geek and Luxy Beauty, and that one's a MAC shadow. And I rarely use that one too. The next one is the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. And I love the packaging on this one. I use this mainly on like lighter skinned people or like, you know, my clients. But this blue is really, really pretty. I don't know if you can see that. Yep. The next palette I have is by ColourPop, and it's the All I See Is Magic palette. And this was their Holiday 2017 palette. And I've used it a few times, but I feel like I can't really get like any different looks. Like I get the same looks every time. It's really, really pretty. The next palette is from my Boxycharm again. Boxycharm is amazing because you get palettes like every month. But yeah, so it's the Boxycharm and Pure palette, and that's what this looks like. I think I've only used this once, and I used it in a first impressions video. But it is a really nice palette. I just forget, as you can see, I have a lot of palettes, so I forget about them. And the next one I got in my Boxycharm too. I think it was my October Boxycharm. This one is super beat up. My son actually got into this one. That's why it looks so beat up. He dug like his nail and then I would use it. So yeah, but that's what that one looks like. Okay, the next palette I have, well, the next two palettes I have are my Too Faced chocolate bar palettes. So I have the original chocolate bar and the semi-sweet. And I'm sure you know what these look like, but I'll just go ahead and show you. And my favorite shade broke out of this one. And then this is the semi-sweet. And these are really nice palettes and they smell delicious. The next one is my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. That's what that looks like. I have not used this in a while, but I mean, as you can tell, I really did like that contour shade. The next one is my Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. And this is probably my only like matte palette, like neutral matte palette. But yeah, so I kind of like this more for my clients because I haven't really used it. I'm not really a all matte girl. But yeah. My next one is my BH Cosmetics Carly Bible palette, and this is her original one. It comes with the 10 shadows for highlights. These highlights are really blinding. But this one's like in the back of my drawer, so I always forget I have it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do like a palette rotation or something soon. The next palette I have is my NYX Avant Pop palette, and I really enjoyed this palette when I first got it. I dug my nail in that shade. I still really want to use this olive shade in here. Hopefully during the fall, I'll get to it. And then I have this NYX Strobe of Genius palette, and I got this on a really good deal at Target. I don't know if it was like a mistake or something, but I got this for like $7. But yeah, it's a really nice highlight palette. The next one is the Crown Pro palette that we got in our July Boxycharm, I believe. And that's what this looks like. And I do have a look with this palette on my channel too. But I've only used it, I think, twice. The next one is probably one of my favorites, and it's the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. I haven't used it in a while because when I get a new palette, I stick to that one for a while. So this one just got pushed back, but it is one of my favorites. And I know Huda Beauty is always in some drama, but I mean, this is my only Huda product that I have. I don't support like her views on stuff, but I mean, I really do enjoy that, and I spent my money on it, so I'm gonna use it. The next one is the Morphe Kathleen Lights palette, and that's what that looks like. I really got this to support Kathleen because I mean I love Kathleen lights, but it is a really pretty palette. I just don't use it, but yeah, there's that one. The next one is, I think, my only Makeup Revolution palette. Plan on getting more, but I got rid of a lot of them. And this is the Flawless 4 palette. And I really liked it for all these like purpley pink shades. It's a really good palette. I've only used it probably twice, if anything. But yeah, I need to get to it. Okay, these are the last few palettes in the drawer. And I'm gonna start off with my NYX Highlight and Contour palette. And this one has been through hell, as you can see. My vanity is in my kids' playroom. So when I'm not looking, they do get into my makeup, but yeah. The next palette is so reflective, but this is the Urban Decay Vice 3 palette. And that's what that looks like. It's a really pretty palette. Before I had like any other colorful palettes, I would use the like greens and blues in here. But now that I have colorful palettes, I don't really gravitate towards this. But I mean, it was a gift from my mom, so yeah, we'll keep it. The next palette, or the next two palettes, are my Lorac Mega Pro palettes. So I have the first one and the third one. And this one's actually a fake, and I know about the fake makeup. I don't use this palette, but I just keep it in my collection. But yeah. And then the third one is not a fake, but I just forget that I have these palettes because they're so big. I just like keep them in the drawer and I forget about them. But I mean, it's a really nice palette. I would say this one's probably my favorite. The next three are by Morphe, and this one's the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette, if I can open it. And this one, I was so sad. I dropped it, and this shade is completely gone. This one I got to fix, and I was able to fix this one too. But this one's a really good palette. Morphe's quality has improved so much since this. But yeah, this is a really nice palette. The next one is the Morphe 35O palette, and I'm sure everyone knows what this looks like. So this is the original. And then I have the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, and this is the original packaging with the one that gets really dirty and stuff. But I mean, I don't really care. And that's what that looks like. And these are so pretty. I love them. Okay, and for the last of my palettes, I have them in these drawers. And the first one I'm going to start with is the Crown Pro Glam Metals palette. And I got this in a Boxycharm a few months back too. I've never used it. I think I did swatch 2 colors, but I think I'm going to go ahead and sanitize it. I mean, I sanitized it once, but I think I'm going to sanitize it again and probably throw it into a giveaway. If y'all are okay with that, let me know down below if y'all are okay with this going into a giveaway. I've never used it. I've just swatched this shade and this black shade, and I think this one too. So 3 shades. But yeah, let me know down below if y'all would be okay with this going into a giveaway. I will sanitize it again. But yeah, so I have that one. The next one I have, let me just stack these, is the Tarte Man Eater palette. And this, I originally just bought this for the packaging, but once I got it, I fell in love with it. Like, this was my go-to palette for a very long time. there's that one. The next palette we got in a Boxycharm as well. This is the Winky Luxe Kitten palette. That's what that looks like. This one's probably my favorite shade in here. And again, I dropped this palette. I used to be so careful with my palettes, now they're forever falling. The next one is my only Viseart palette, and it is the Golden Hour palette, and that's what this looks like. And this palette is like crazy pigmented. It is so nice. But yeah, that's what that looks like. The next palette is the Tartelette in Bloom palette. I did have the original Tartelette palette, but it was too cool tone and it felt really dry to me. So I did get rid of that one, but this one's probably my favorite one. The next, how many is it? 4 or 5 are all ColourPop. So this one is the ColourPop Dream Street palette, the collaboration with Kathleen Lights. And I'm so embarrassed with how dirty my palettes are, but I mean, at least you know they get used. But there's this one. I really enjoy this palette. The next one is the You Had Me at Hello palette. And this one comes with the mirror, and that's what this looks like. I think I used this about a handful of times. It's really nice. The next one is another one we got in a Boxycharm, and this is the Element of Surprise palette. And I recently did a video using this one and the Cardi palette. It's the Purple Halo Eye, so if you would like to see that video, I will have that link down below. But this one's a really nice palette too. The next ColourPop palette is the I Think I Love You palette, and that's what this looks like. And the last ColourPop palette is the Yes Please palette. And this packaging just gets dirty like no matter what. But this was my first ColourPop palette, and it is probably one of my favorites, besides the Kathleen Lights one. But yeah, this gold is amazing. Like, I have a really big dip in that one. Okay. For the last of my palettes, it's mainly like my smaller drugstore ones. I mean, besides the Dose of Colors and the Smashbox one. We'll just get this one out of the way. This is the Smashbox Full Exposure palette. And I've never used this palette. So this is another one I'm thinking of throwing into the giveaway. Let me know if you would like that. Because it's just been sitting in my drawer for the past few months. The next one is this Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. And I think these are like Makeup Geek shadows. Well, this one's a ColourPop shadow and Come and Get It. This is Makeup Geek Mocha. And I think this is like Peach Smoothie, yeah. That's Peach Smoothie. Then I have this Beauty Treats palette. And this was like $2. I got this because of Sabrina on YouTube. She said that this was a dupe for one of the Viseart palettes. And it's actually a really nice palette for $2. The next one is this little magnetic palette. But I have these little shades that I got in Ipsy when I used to have Ipsy. The next one is the Dose of Color Marvelous Mauves palette. And I really do enjoy this palette. And I also have a video on this. I'll have that link down below too. The next two are my drugstore. And this one is the Milani Everyday Eyes Earthy Elements palette. And I really got it for that orangey shade. So nice. These are really nice quality. The next one is the CoverGirl True Naked palette in Roses. And this was like the main one I wanted because I didn't really have any like pinky rosy tones. And this one's actually a really nice quality. The next two are by e.l.f. And this one is the Mad for Matte 2 palette. That's what that looks like. It's really pretty. I like this one more than the original Mad for Matte. But yeah, this one's really nice. And if you're on a budget, I mean, you get a full palette for 10 bucks. So that's the Mad for Matte 2. This is the Prism palette from e.l.f. And this one's the Sunset one. These are pretty nice. I mean, I don't think they're worth the $10, but I did get that one on sale. So the next two are by Wet n Wild, and this is the Comfort Zone palette. And I do plan on getting the newer packaging one because it comes with mattes. But this one's really nice. And then I have the Poster Child one, and this was probably like my first colorful palette. It's not the best. I mean, like, it's pigmented and stuff, but you don't get all the colors you need, you know. But yeah. And the last palette I have in here is the NYX Ultimate Brights palette. And this palette is really nice. Really nice quality if you want a really good, like, bright palette, but you don't want anything too big or too expensive. This one's a really good option. But yeah, so that completes my palette collection. Again, if y'all don't mind this palette going into the giveaway, I will sanitize it again. Just let me know down below if y'all are okay with this one and the Smashbox palette going into the giveaway. If not, it's no problem. I do have other palettes that I got set aside for this giveaway. And I will be announcing that in the next video for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.